Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tanika. In today's video, I'm going to be doing 3 different eye looks using the Colourpop and Shayla Perception Palette. Now, I don't own any eyeshadows from Colourpop. This was my very first time trying them and I am so impressed. The pigmentation is amazing. They blend beautifully. There is no patchiness. They are just, I'm really digging it. So as I said, I am doing 3 different looks. I have tried to use all different colors and mix up the looks so you can see a range from this palette. I know they have restocked it for the 3rd time. I'm not quite sure if it still is in stock. I will link it down below if it is, but I'm telling you, you need to get your hands on this palette. It is stunning. All right, well, I will list all the details in the description box below. If you have any other questions, just leave me a comment and let's get straight into it. So I'm starting out with the shade Culture on a Sigma E40 tapered blending brush, and I'm just going to be packing this into my crease as this is going to be my transition shade. So once I've packed this down, I'm going to start lightly blending it out. Then I'm going in with the shade Played Out, and on a smaller, more tapered brush, I'm going to be putting this on the inner and outer corners and then blending it through the crease. So obviously I'm doing a halo eye, one of my favorites. Now this shade does take a lot of work, so just keep blending, and keep blending. I did actually swap over to a smaller fluffy brush. This one here is the Zoeva 224 and it's just a really small fluffy brush, as I said, so you can get right into tight spaces and really blend out that shadow. Then I attempted to do a bit of a halo eye cut crease. It didn't really work how I wanted it to. I think I took the concealer up too high. But anyway, I took the shade Spill the Tea and applied this to the center of my lid. Next, I went in with the shade called Shade, and I used this on a pencil brush just to blend the edges into that center color. And then just to tidy everything up, I went back in with the tiny blending brush just to go over my lines. And then I wanted a bit more of a pop in the center of my lid, so I took the shade Unbothered and applied that in the center of my lid. For the lower lash line, I just used the same shades that we did on top. So starting out with Culture and then going in with Played Out just on the inner and outer corners. And then I used Spill the Tea in the center of my lid. So I was just trying to mimic what we did on top down the bottom. And then I like to go in with some liquid liner, some mascara and some lashes. These ones here are by House of Lashes and they're in the style Allure Light. And then after I apply lashes, I always like to use a liner and tight line. I just find it really finishes off the look and fills in any gaps. And then mascara on the lower lash line, and that is the first look complete. On to look number 2, I'm starting out by putting some concealer on my eyelid. Now I did do this for the first look as well, I just didn't film it. So I like to start out with a concealer brush just to outline underneath my brows, and then I go in with a more dense brush to kind of blend it out and set it in place. So for my lid, I'm only using one shade, and this one's called Culture, and I'm just packing that on. And once the color is on, then I'm going to start blending it out. So because I didn't set the concealer, I find that this works really well to make sure I'm getting a lot of pigment, but it's still blending out nicely. And then to quickly highlight my brow bone, I went in with the top shade called Unbothered. Next, I'm going to be going in with a blue eyeliner and lining my waterline. And then I'm going in with the blue shade from the palette called 14. And this shade is absolutely stunning. So I started off by packing this on, like packing the color on and building it up. And then I went in and just lightly blended it out. I didn't use any other colors, so I just worked on that blue for a while to blend it out nicely. I then just went over my waterline one more time to make sure that color was nice and bright, and then in with my lash routine. So lining my lash line and my tight line, and then going in with mascara and lashes. These ones are also by House of Lashes. They are the Iconic Light. They are so dramatic. They're perfect for this look. Then just apply some mascara to the lower lashes, and that is the look complete. This is definitely the easiest look, and you can do it with any shades in the palette. Alright, so on to look number 3. I am priming my eyelids how I did before with the concealer. And then for my transition shade, I'm using this orange one called Thic. And on a Zoeva 227 Luxe Soft Definer brush, I am packing this into the crease and really building up the shade. And then I'm going to lightly blend it out. I also just grabbed a little bit of the shade Culture and lightly ran over the edges of this shade to make sure it was a nice transition. So next I am going in with the shade Played Out, and I'm using that really tiny 224 brush by Zoeva again, and this is going through my crease, but I'm not going to bring it up as high. And again, this shade did take a lot of work. I think I found it the most difficult in the palette. Not that it doesn't blend nicely, but it just takes a lot of time to blend it out seamlessly. So I was just kind of packing on little bits at a time and blending that out. Next was the hard part. So I wanted to do a cut crease again. So I'm using 2 different flat concealer brushes. And I did try that trick where you look up, but I found it was cutting my crease way too high. So I just decided to kind of draw the line myself and see how I go. I do have slightly hooded eyes, so I found it really helpful if I pulled my eyelid out flat, and it helped me to get a bit more of a sharper line. I would have loved to show you how I finished this off, but I had to get really close to the mirror, so sorry about that. Next, I went in with the shade IE, and this is a beautiful kind of khaki army green. I just had to use it. So I'm just using a small flat brush, and I'm packing this shade onto about 1/3 of the concealed area. And then for the inner portion, I used the shade up the top called Unbothered. In the pan, it looks kind of white, but it has a really, really beautiful gold shift to it. So I packed that on and then went in and just blended out those edges. And for the outer corner, I went back in with the fluffy brush and just packed on some more of the shade Played Out and blended that back through the crease just to try and neaten it up. And for the lower lash line, I just used 2 shades. So starting with Thic, the orange shade, I really packed that on, my favorite thing to say. And then I used Played Out and just did a thin line of that, blended it out, and Bob's your uncle. I also highlighted my inner corners and brow bone with the shade Unbothered as well. And then I went in and applied my lashes. These ones here are by Eyelure, and they're from the Luxe range. They're in the style Opulent. They're just really nice. They're not as dramatic as the other ones I used. And then here we have look 3 complete. I will have all the details listed in the description box below of the shades I use, lashes and lipstick. I hope you enjoyed watching today. Make sure you leave me a comment letting me know what your favorite look was, 1, 2 or 3. I hope you're all having a great day, and I will see you all in my next video. And don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already. Bye!